Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, classmates, and dear professors. Today I would like to start questioning an idea, which is stereotypes and the power of the passport. And at the same time, I will share my experience as a migrant in different countries. So, first of all, it is undeniable that different passports have different powers. And this is an idea that has to do with different diplomatic ties among countries. And it has to do also with the idea that maybe someone who enters the territory will illegally stay. And that's why it is important to keep a record of this. With this being said, this second idea goes hand in hand with a concept that I totally despise, and this is prejudice. Even though prejudice has been really useful and has played an essential role for humanity since the beginning of ages, as it kept us safe from different situations, you were really wary when you faced a situation for the first time, and it provided for our survival. However, this concept of prejudice is affecting countless people nowadays, especially but by the country where their passport was issued. And this is my case. I, as a Colombian citizen, have to carry the burden of being Colombian in a different country. It has happened when I have traveled to Mexico, Europe, and the United Kingdom, all three, only because I am Colombian and I enter the territory with a Colombian passport. First of all, my experience in Mexico was not so pleasant. I have been there twice and I have been there in a period more than 8 months. The first time I entered the territory in the airport in Mexico City, International Airport of Mexico City. And there, when I arrived to the desk of the immigration officer, I got asked countless questions, even though I had a sponsorship letter by my university because I was supposed to take some courses there. I got asked questions about when my return flight was going to be, where I would be staying, how much time, what was my plan, if I had family in the United States, in Mexico, and of course, I don't. That was really frustrating and really humiliating because I had to prepare everything. The reason being is that historically, the Mexican authorities have a problem with Colombian citizens. And it happened to a friend of mine where if they notice that something's wrong or dodgy, they take the Colombian citizen and place them in a special room, which resembles the room of a prison. And there they start checking everything they can, their bags, their luggage, their conversations, and their documents. This is inhumane and this has been denounced countless times. And this is just a public policy from the United States, just for the fact that you are Colombian. Fortunately, I replied all of the questions and I got the entry clearance. Thank God. Now, my second experience has to do with the United Kingdom. Of course, remembering this, I was traumatized and I brought everything printed in A4 paper because in South America we use letter. So I brought everything perfectly arranged. The place where I was going to stay, my visa, my application, my clearance, etc., etc., etc. All of the documents were perfectly organized. And then I was really afraid because I had to do it in English, of course, my B language. As soon as I handed my passport to the officer, again, he started asking questions. I was really nervous because maybe I thought, okay, maybe I will be sent back home and I won't be able to complete my master's. He asked a couple of questions, fewer questions than the Mexican officer, I have to say. And at the end, he looked me in a way that I consider a little bit denigrating. Like, he looked me all the way down up and said, okay, welcome to the United Kingdom. no smile, nothing. So I said, okay, thank you. I took all my documents and I left. Immediately, I ran away. This has never happened to me when I have visited other countries. This has never happened when I visited Peru or when I visited Ecuador. This just has happened in Mexico and the United Kingdom. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to question the power of the passport. This is just an absurd idea that carries out stereotypes. I, as a Colombian, go against the idea of absurd stereotypes. We are not living in the 80s anymore, and Colombia is not a country that exports drugs anymore. This has just changed completely from that time until nowadays. Finally, last but not least, I think it is really a good idea to start acknowledging the privilege that many of you have, an European or a different kind of passport. And you usually have not faced this situation because you have another nationality and you have the privilege to be born elsewhere. Thank you very much.